Cool. So welcome to the Clearer Method podcast. I'm your host, Zaid, and today I'm joined by Paty. Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right, Paty, can you just kick us off with a quick intro of how you got into GTM, team building and career coaching?
Yeah, I actually got into it a little bit by accident. My background is not in recruiting. I've never actually been a recruiter, sorry. My background is in sales. So I went from being an individual contributor to leading a sales team to then enabling and training a sales team. And in doing all of that, I've hired a lot of salespeople and work with a lot of recruiters. And I saw that there was kind of a disconnect between what the recruiters thought made a good salesperson and what the hiring managers actually wanted. And like many people, when they see a gap, I went out and decided to do something about it. And so now I help companies doing recruiting and building their go-to-market teams from, I guess, knowing that perspective and being on both sides of the hiring table.
Oh, that's really interesting because I used to actually do sales as well quite a while ago, about a year and a half ago, or however long it was. When did you make that transition into being a recruiter or just helping people?
Great question. I made the full-time transition just recently, and I have been building my recruiting business for about a year now.
For about a year. Cool. And for sales, like how long have you been doing that for?
The full-time?
Yeah. Like when did you first just stumble into sales? Like how did that even begin with?
Okay, I've been full-time launching my business since March, and then I stumbled into sales back in 2017.
27.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. I had an internship as an SDR. I had no idea what the term SDR, sales development representative, meant. I was handed a piece of paper and told, go make some dials and schedule some appointments. And I fell in love with the adrenaline of setting something and having a demo close and bringing in revenue and having conversations all day. And I love to talk to people, hence why I'm here. And to get paid to do something like that was pretty awesome, and just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, 100%. Sales is quite intense. It's like a sport, basically. It's that intensity, it's just a different feel to it. So yeah, that's good. So like for like a day-to-day basis, like how does your day typically go as like a career coach, for example?
Yeah. How specific do you want me to get? Because I'll add,
As
I'm
specific
running a
as you
company
can
full time. What was that?
be. As specific as you can be.
Okay. So it's a little unique because I'm running my company full time, and then I'm also a full time mom. I have a daughter who's almost 4.
All right.
So I divide my time up between doing that, and it's pretty crazy. I guess to give you the rundown, I do most of like networking and daily activity, like checking inboxes, replying, working with my business partner in the morning from like 5:30 to like 8 a.m. And then I spend a good portion of my day with my daughter from like, let's say 9 to 2. And then from 2 to about 6 p.m. with maybe some other time after she goes to sleep at like 10 or 11, I do the bulk of sourcing, interviews, podcast recordings, networking, and focusing on strategies as well to get my name out there during that time. I know that was a pretty high level overview, but
No, that's fine.
that's usually how I have it split up.
Yeah, very, very busy day for you, especially with having a daughter as well. That's a big responsibility. So yeah. I mean, like, what I know you said that you made that transition about a year ago. Is that right? About a year
So I
ago
launched a year ago. I made the transition in March.
in March. So what did you see that made you want to make that transition?
To be quite frank, I was incredibly overwhelmed trying to do a 9 to 5 job, be a mom, and also run a business all at the same time. And I had gotten to the point where I had enough clients to where I just didn't have the bandwidth to be able to look at resumes and do interviews along the same time as also doing everything else. And I realized, okay, there's some proof of concept that I could do this, that I can get clients. And so I just decided to take the leap.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's more like you didn't have enough time to do a typical 9 to 5 and you just wanted to take that leap. Cool. And in terms of like the world of sales organizations and stuff, when it comes to like, what are you currently seeing right now in that space? For example, like when it comes to the hiring or just promoting reps internally.
Great question. There's been a shift towards moving. One of the biggest things I've seen is the shift towards moving away from mass hiring of SDRs. I think a few years back, and especially back when I started, SDRs were considered the sales engine of the company. They were probably the biggest part of a sales department. They comprised of the most amount of people. And now, especially with AI and automation, there's been a shift towards having fewer, if not no SDRs, and instead putting that responsibility of setting appointments onto the account executives. And so that's been one of the biggest hiring shifts, is focusing and hiring for account executives that are hunters, right? And are whatever they're looking, they know how to source and self-source their own deals, and they're not relying on the SDRs to source them for them.
Yeah. So since AI has come into play, obviously, like what's actually changing about like what makes a good sales rep now? Like if I want to go and start sales, what makes a successful sales rep in this market?
Great question. And I think it's the same thing that makes a successful rep in any market, with one additional thing. So in any market, I think a great salesperson needs to have great communication, right? That's a given. If you can't communicate well, nobody's going to understand what you're selling. They need to be able to be self-aware, because it's very, hard to train somebody if they don't have that high EQ of saying, hey, what you said, your tonality, the way you made this person feel is not positive. It's not going to get you the sale because, I don't know, you're being an asshole, for example, right? And if they don't see that, then that's very hard. Coachability is another thing that's always needed in sales, because each call or client that you're talking to, you should be learning from and applying it to your next call. And it's an ever-changing landscape. So it's really important to be coachable. Even if you're somebody that was a top performer for years and years, it's changed. And then the last thing that I would say is specifically important in this market that's competitive and changing is creativity. Because just following the strategy, just doing, even if you have the perfect cold call and you have it all laid out, or the perfect email, we're so bombarded with information that creativity and how you present that information is really important.
I know you mentioned coachability. Coachability is very important. You have to be coachable. If you're not, then there's no point of even being there. Like, are companies at the moment rethinking how they're training these SDRs?
Yeah, they are. And there's a lot of tools that come into play with that, as far as how they're looking into training and coaching. One of the ones that comes up to me is Hyperbound, like using actual AI simulation and role play to be able to help prep reps in that way. That's one of the changes that I've seen as well.
Yeah, cool. Interesting. Cool. So in terms of the patterns you're seeing at the moment, are there any patterns you're seeing on like why sales reps are not improving, why they're on a plateau, or why sales teams even stall as well?
I think it goes back to the oversaturation, and AI is playing a huge role in that. I think I got cold called, I don't know, at least once a day for like a week from this company that was doing like an AI bot cold call.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done. Like, I usually answer every call that I get because I've been on the other side, right? I did cold calls, and I appreciate, somebody telling me no rather than me just trying to call. But regardless of me picking up the first time, realizing it was an AI bot and saying like, don't call me again. Like, now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I just don't pick up like I used to, right? And that's very sad
Yeah,
because it's the same thing that's happening across the board with thousands and thousands of people. And it's, the oversaturation of AI of just, let's just mass style, right? It's not a person behind doing it. Let's just send 200 emails and to 300 different people. The automation is what I feel like is playing a huge negative role in sales, even though they're still good within that.
yeah. How long has this even been going out for? Like, how long has this been going on for? Like all this AI stuff. Um, how long?
I don't know. For me, I've really seen it pick up, I would say, over the last 6 months
Last
with
6 months.
ChatGPT coming like a big thing, and then every company saying that they have, AI SDRs that don't take breaks and don't take vacation and aren't scared to dial. And so over the last 6 months, I've seen that uptake of
Yeah.
AI automation.
And like, I know it's coming over the last 6 months for you. Like, for you over the next 6 to 12 months, like, what do you feel like you need to do in order for that not to impact you?
That's a tough question. What I have been doing, and I hope continues to be successful, is being incredibly personal. I love what you did with the voice note. That's
Yeah.
personal. There's no way to automate that. I know it's actually you sending me, well, for now, right?
There's no
Maybe in
AI
the
for
next
now.
year.
2 years, there'll be people doing that.
Yeah, there might be an AI. You're going to clone your voice and then send it to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But for now, I use voice notes a lot as well on LinkedIn because that's me. I also do video messages a lot that are personalized, even if it's just a 10-second video. And reaching out to people, commenting, building community, I think is really the best way to go about it now.
Oh, it's just lagging a little bit. Well, that's a good thing that I'll send you a personalized voice note.
Yes.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything, Patty. It was incredible just getting your insight on what you're doing and this AI stuff that's emerging all of a sudden. Yeah, you brought a really fresh perspective, and it was really nice speaking to you.
Awesome.